I think I'll go on to something more cheerful, maybe, um, and a talk about food. Is anybody hungry already? It's lunchtime. So, this lovely lady is a content creator based in the UK. Fatma Baiti started her social media presence in 2014 as a local restaurant reviewer in Sana'a, Yemen. After moving to London, her content involved telling the unknown stories of dishes after realizing how food is a door to understanding people and cultures. Fatma has recently gone back to focusing on Yemeni food by hosting London's first Yemeni pop-up brunch series, Meet Me at Fatma's, in 2019. And I was so jealous I couldn't go. Um, she became the first of the hit online food series, Ju El Rarabu.
No, جوع الربوع.
Ah, it's like, what is that? Ju' El Rabu'.
Yes,
Okay,
correct. Yeah.
okay. Named after a famous food proverb in Aden, Aden, the south of Yemen, on social media. So please welcome Fatma Al Baiti and take it over.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Rafiqa. I'm going to be sharing my screen with everyone. Sorry, just 1 second. Can everyone see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. Oh, I think it's getting there. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, so I am here today, and I'm delighted to be amongst you all to tell you a little bit about the stories of Yemen through food. Since I'm a believer that you can always tell stories of a country through its dishes, I thought this presentation would be useful because, you know, we're a country that's going through war, and one of the ways that we could tell the stories of this country from a positive perspective is through food. So Rafiqa has kindly introduced me earlier. I just want to quickly say that my journey actually online started in 2014, but my passion for food had started way longer before that. And it recently became more inclusive of what are the stories behind these dishes. And that's why I enjoy being a host on Nas Adan, because I don't only show people how to make that dish really quickly, but it's also about telling people about the history behind that dish, or sharing some fun stories about it, or some beliefs that people have on these dishes. I'm currently not cooking for commercial reasons because of the pandemic, but I have taken the opportunity to tell food stories online. So what is, or what are the stories of Yemeni food? Well, let's just go way behind when humans started being available on Earth. So like all nations elsewhere, food began as a means of survival. Food never looked attractive. It maybe didn't even taste that great because humans just wanted it to survive. And then slowly, as centuries passed and people were able to travel from one country to another, food traveled with them. So they would take food from their countries of origin, and they would take them with them to other places. And what I mean by take them with them is not really the actual dish, but it's the information they have on the dish. Because if I was traveling somewhere new to me, obviously I would really try to look for not only food from that other nation that I'm being introduced to, but also food that I used to have back home, and I will try to recreate it. And that's how Yemeni food came to be. Because when people traveled to and from Yemen, whether it was for political reasons, to start wars, invasions, or even just to migrate there and start a business or look for a new life, they took these recipes with them, and then they influenced what had happened or what became the Yemeni cuisine today. So if we go a little bit deeper into the types of cuisines that really had a huge influence on the Yemeni cuisine, it's mainly like 3 different countries. So we've got the Turks who came to Yemen, and the Ottoman Empire happened in Yemen, so they brought with them their cuisine, and that's like mainly in the northern parts of Yemen. And then when you go down to the east, you've got the East African influence because of the migration and trade that was happening between countries like Tanzania and Kenya and Uganda, and between the Yemenis of Hadramaut in particular. And then if you go a little bit south to Aden, you will find that a lot of the dishes are influenced by the Indian cuisine. So we all kind of have these versions of these other universal dishes. So I'll just give you some examples. So if we're talking about the south, we have a version of biryani, which we call zurbiyan. The mandazi, or the East African mandazi, is what we call in Hadramaut bakhumri or khamir. And then in Sana'a, they have the famous dish of burek, which is originally from the Turkish dish burek. And so I'm gonna show you a little short video that I made a couple of years ago on shafut. And I hold this dish very close to my heart because it's one of my favorite dishes from the north. It's a nice cold appetizer. So yeah, I'll leave you to watch this. And yeah, it's got a little recipe there. So yeah, I hope you enjoy.
Shafut is a combination of a sour pancake-like bread locally known as lahor and a spiced yogurt sauce. It tastes a little like Indian raita, but lighter in consistency. Yemeni lahor is very similar to Ethiopian injera. In fact, the only difference is lahor is made up of corn and wheat flour, while injera is made up of teff flour. Some research says lahor actually originated in Somalia and Djibouti. It doesn't really matter where it originated, I just like the fact that we're all connected. قلة المصروف وكثرة الدين وكان مسافر فجر يوم الاثنين وقت الوداع سلم وقال مودع حبيبي قعدة من الدرج المنزل حبيبي قعدة من الدرج المنزل وش تعملي بو كل قشاية وش تعملي بو يا بنت غالب وش تعملي بو كل قشاية وش تعملي بو يا بنت غالب وقت الوداع سلم وقال مودع من قلة المصروف وكثرة الدين وكان مسافر فجر يوم الاثنين وقت الوداع سلم وقال مودع Just thought I would mention, I am not a chef, which is why Fatma vs. Food is not a cooking channel. However, I will occasionally post something like this. Thank you for
Thank you all for watching that. Well, I am a cook now, and I know how to make more Yemeni dishes, which is why I hosted Meet Me at Fatma's in London. Okay, so moving on to the next slide here is what also makes the story of Yemeni food. So it's not just the history behind the dishes. There are other ways that make Yemeni food unique. I believe that every country has its own methods and its own traditions in making their food unique. But I think what makes Yemeni food unique is the tools that we use and the traditions that, that go behind it. So some really classic examples are mendi, that everyone in the world practically knows. But if you go down to Hadramaut, you'll also find out that they actually make the lamb underneath the ground. So just like keeps up with all the heat. And another example from the north of Yemen is making the beef stew, or what we call a fahsa, in a nice stone bowl called harada, which actually originates from the name of the stone itself that they use to make it. And so basically, what I'm going to show you right now is a video made by Basma Hashim, a dear friend and colleague of mine in this food journey. And so you will understand how this beef stew is made on this particular harada. And what's really unique about the harada is that it helps actually contain the heat while you eat it. Okay. So I'd like to quickly disclaim that the video is from Basma Hashim's famous channel called Luqma. You can find it on all social media platforms. It's an amazing channel because you can really show the effort. It really shows the effort that Basma has made, to document Yemeni food and really showcase it in a way that's easier for everybody to implement. And it's both available in English and in Arabic. So I would highly recommend that you visit the channels. And, if you don't know much about Yemeni food, then that's a great way to start. So thank you, Basma. Now, I would just like to quickly say that Yemeni food and sharing the stories of Yemeni food is not just about presenting these dishes. It's also about what happens in the background, how you made that dish or how you learned how to make it. So it's really also about the experience, how you use your hands to eat things like fahsa and salta and not really use a spoon. So it's just all these stories that make the Yemeni food experience a little more unique. And so this really brings us to the conclusion that there are stories behind the dish. And from a wider perspective, it could be, yes, the stories of migration and conflict and trade, but you can actually go down to a smaller perspective from an individual or family perspective and really tell the stories of how your family made this dish and how maybe your mother became famous, amongst her peers about making the best, I don't know, haris or something. It's also about the occasions as well. So you will know, if you're Yemeni, that our main meal of the day is usually lunch, and that's where we go really grand. And then we also have our special food that goes for occasions like Ramadan or Eid. There are special foods that go onto weddings, and then there are other ones that are normally served in funerals. So it's really about the stories of all these interesting occasions and how they became to be. And so before I conclude, I would just like a couple of you, or all, if you're interested, is to take just a moment and think about what your favorite Yemeni dish is. If you've never been exposed to Yemeni food, then just think about a dish that you hold close to your heart from your own country or background. So I'll just give you a second to think about it. Okay. Now, after you've thought about what your favorite dish is, I'd like you to go a little bit deeper into what are the memories associated with this dish. So as an example, one of my favorite dishes could be, I don't know, zurbian, for example. So you could remember the memories that associate with it. So for example, I remember when I was a teenager and I went to my family's house in Aden, and, you know, my cousin was, you know, bragging about her zurbian, and the kitchen was really busy and people were shouting at each other to just like go out. So these are the memories that I associate with zurbian. So I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds so that you can reflect on the stories that made that particular dish even more special to you. I am guessing that everyone has remembered that memory, but you can also go deeper into that when the event is finished. So I'm just gonna wrap up and say that that's your story of Yemen. You don't need to be telling stories of war. You could always tell stories in your perspective, and, you know, food is one of these ways to tell your stories, including all the lovely artwork that we've seen today. So thank you so much for your time and, you know, for listening to me. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of the event.
Thank you, Fatma. You can hang on for a bit.
Sure.
My mouth is
I will be
watering.
here.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you very much. And you have you're going to do a cookery class. I see. I've joined. It's happening next week, right? Oh, you're muted. Maybe if you can be unmuted.
Yes. Oh no, I don't have something scheduled for next week. No, it's not me.
Isn't that you? I thought it was you. How was it something that's last year or something? Is it?
Yeah, maybe. Yes, I did hold a couple of cooking classes last year for sure.
Okay, I didn't see the year, but yeah, we want some of those.
Inshallah, yes, inshallah.
Because I definitely would want to join. I want to learn how to make hilba and salta and fahsa and asid and matit and susi and all the breads. Oh my gosh.
Now you're making me hungry, Rafiqa.
I'm an expert on zahawig, but that's it.
That's good enough, trust me.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Basma, for allowing us to use the video. And so if there's any questions, I guess, about food, you can leave it in the chat or in the Q&A. Okay. So I'll see, is there any questions about, oh yeah, somebody has said Celta, yum yum, from Colin Ryder and Brendan Duffy. We all love Celta. The only problem with the Celta, it's actually, there is a strong smell, you know, but I don't care. In a crowded restaurant in Sana'a, yes. Celta, crowded, Sana'a, absolute wonderful chaos. Yes, yeah, the chaos is always good. Shaybani, that's my favorite. Or in Bab el Yemen, there's several of them. Beautiful food from Marilyn Nyquist. What a meaningful way to think about the significance of the stories connected to the food. Thank you, Fatma. Wish I could taste some of this now.